It's going to be all right. Everything is going to be all right. Come on. Hey, right foot, right foot, right. Everybody put your right foot. I need y'all to make a one big youth choir tonight. Don't care how old you are. Come on. Everybody say everything is gonna be alright.
Everything's gonna be alright.
Say everything is gonna be alright.
join us Monday morning at 7 a.m. for TGIM. Thank God it's Monday. Start your week off in the presence of the Lord.
There will be no Wednesday night spiritual formation Bible study class during the month of July. We will, however, resume our online Bible study during the month of August. Ask the Pastor. Do you have a special question that you would like to ask Pastor Duncan? Please go to the City of Hope Community Church app, tap on the button that says Ask the Pastor, and perhaps your question and answer will be read throughout the week. To stay connected to the City of Hope Community Church, please download the City of Hope Community Church app. For daily inspiration, join our daily text club. Text the word INSPIRE to 86677. There are 5 ways to financially support the City of Hope Community Church. You can go to www.cohindy.org and utilize your phone, your tablet, your laptop, or your desktop browser and click to give. You can also download the City of Hope Community Church mobile app. On that mobile app device, click the Give icon. You can also download the Givelify app on your mobile device. Search for the City of Hope Community Church, tap, give, and you're done. We also accept check or money order through U.S. Postal Mail. You can mail it to 10607 East 56th Street, Indianapolis, Indiana, 46235. We have also added a text-to-give option for your convenience. Just text the keyword GIVE to 1-844-986-1767. How to best maximize your Sunday morning Cyber Sanctuary experience. Number 1, make this time a sacred hour of worship. Number 2, find a quiet place free from distractions whereby you can focus on experiencing the presence of God and hearing the voice of God. Number 3, avoid multitasking at home during the Cyber Sanctuary service. Number 4, assume a posture of prayer and praise before we start. Number 5, grab your Bible, your notebook, your pen, and intentionally take notes. And number 6, tap to clap, like and share, and have a spirit of expectation. Let's get ready to worship.
Found us when we were lost. You made a way. Don't know how, but you did it. You made a way. Standing here, knowing how we'll get through this test, but holding on to faith you know best. Nothing can catch you by surprise. You got this figured out, and you're watching us now. Yes, Lord. But when it looks as if we can't Your grace was strong enough to pick us up and you made a way. Yes, Jesus. When our back was against the wall and it looked as if it was over, you made a way. And we're standing here only because, come on, y'all gotta say it. You made a way, yeah. Yes, Lord. When we had nowhere to turn, it was you. It was you that saw us through and you made a way. Yes, Lord. Hallelujah. And we're standing right here, right now, only because, one more time, y'all, you made a way. Yes, you move mountains, hey, you cause the walls to fall, and with your power, yes, you perform miracles. There is nothing, oh no, that's impossible, and we're standing here only because you made a way. You cause the walls with your power. You perform miracles, hey, and there is nothing, no, that's impossible. Yes, Lord, and we're standing right here, only because, one more time, y'all sing with me. You move mountains, you cause walls to fall, and it's with your power. You perform miracle after miracle after miracle. There is nothing that's impossible. That's why we're standing here. Because it's only because, yes, Lord, and we're standing right here because you made a way out of no way. We're standing here only because you made it. You made a way when I was sick in my mind. Oh Lord, when I had nowhere to turn, it was you. You made a way. When my body was funny and my chain was strange, you made a way. Oh Lord, don't know how, but you did it. You put food in my refrigerator, yeah. Clothes on my back, shoes on my feet, yeah. Lord, but I'm grateful that you didn't leave me in my mess. I don't know how we did it, but I'm so grateful. I'm grateful that you did it for me, that he did it for you. I'm so grateful. Yeah, y'all. And we're standing here only because you made a way.
Good morning and praise the Lord, everybody. Hey, this is Pastor Corey Allen Duncan, Senior Pastor of the City of Hope Community Church. I'm so glad that you have tuned in today, and you do not want to miss this. Today, look, it is, look, I'm at a loss of words. It's going to be so good. It's going to be so off the chain. It's going to be such a blessing to you. You don't want to miss it. Last week, I preached the message, God's Recipe for Peace, and it was such a great response and follow-up from it. I wanted to follow up in a very practical way that will help equip you with some tools, some tips, some techniques that will help you deal with the anxiety that you may be feeling. And I got a special guest in the house today, and it's going to be a phenomenal time, and I want you to tune in. Look, before we get to the message, I want to recap a little bit of what we talked about last week. So check this out one time for the one time. Approximately 40 million American adults, roughly 18% of the population, deal with what's known as anxiety. That anxiety disorders are the most common mental health concern in the United States of America. That according to the National Alliance on Mental Illness, we all to some extent experience anxiety in our lives. Feelings of intense fear and distress become overwhelming and prevent us from doing everyday activities. Our anxiety may be heightened and hindering us from functioning properly. The reality is, in the current climate of our country, it is conducive for an anxiety outbreak. That we are witnessing COVID-19 spikes across the nation. We see businesses and organizations ramping up and rushing back, most of which are prioritizing profits over people. We see schools revealing their reopening and reentry plans and making concerted efforts to prepare as much as possible for what's essentially the unknown. We have educators and administrators as well as parents and pupils that are apprehensive and uneasy about this upcoming school year. Doctors and nurses and hospitals are all revving up for the second wave of this deadly disease that is seen here in the U.S. Over 3 million people have been infected and close to 150,000 people have lost their lives. That in addition to this particular pandemic, we're dealing with policing issues and pride and prejudice problems and rivers of racism still running rampant through our society. That I would definitely say that the current climate of our country is conducive for an anxiety outbreak. Anxiety chips away at our peace. That it troubles our tranquility, it cancels our calm, it kills our quiet, it robs us of relaxation and stifles our stillness. The question is, what's chipping away at your peace? What's troubling your tranquility? What's killing your calm and your quietness? What's robbing you of your relaxation? As usual, y'all, I didn't come to stress you or depress you, but I came to bless you and to let you know that although anxiety is troublesome, it's also treatable. Whether your symptom level is minimum, mild, moderate, or maximum, that there is a prescription for your problem. That when it comes to these type of issues, y'all, watch this, I believe in walking in faith, but I also believe in being fundamental. Come on. I believe in the master, but I also believe in medicine. I believe in being practical, but I also believe in being spiritual as well. I believe in theology, but I also believe in therapy. Well, good morning, my brothers and sisters. That was a clip from last week's sermon taken out of Philippians 4, verses 4 through 7, talking about God's recipe for success. And it was such a phenomenal sermon, not because I preached it, but I think it was raw, real, and relevant, portable, practical, and applicable for the times in which we live in today. And today, I wanted to follow up with that message and go a little bit deeper. There was such a great response, so many inboxes and text messages and phone calls for so many people who could really identify and relate to the elements of that sermon, that we wanted to follow up today. But in order to follow up, I had to call in for some reinforcements. I had to call for some help. I had to call for some assistance from a phenomenal young lady who is definitely a professional in the area of therapy. And I want y'all to welcome to the studio. I feel like I'm a real talk show. I want y'all to welcome to the studio today none other than Miss Ashlyn Douthed. Come on, that's when we're supposed to have. That's when we're supposed to have crowd clapping or something. Yeah, I'm so proud of this young lady. She's Ashlyn Douthed. She's a member of the City of Hope Community Church. I'm really honored, and I feel old because I served as her youth pastor.
Oh, you're telling my age,
I
pastor?
know, telling the age. I served as her youth pastor, and now She's a phenomenal woman. She graduated from Northwestern University with a degree in marriage family therapy. She's been in this practice for 5 years now, and she's also currently, she's about to be Dr. Douthit. I like how that sounds.
That sounds good, doesn't it?
Dr. Douthit. She is in school in a doctoral program to get her degree so that she can be Dr. Douthit, and I'm just so proud of her. She's an expert in this field. I'm saying she's an expert in this field. She's going to help us dig and dive a little deeper. Can y'all say hello and good morning to Miss Ashlyn? Can y'all give her a heart for a hallelujah and tap the clap on today? Good morning, Ashlyn.
Good morning, Pastor. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for accepting the invitation. How have you been doing?
I've been doing great.
Yeah, awesome. Now, I just read a little bit of your Bible, but do you want to tell them anything else about yourself or just...
Yeah, I think you gave me a great introduction.
You know, I tried.
I think you covered everything.
I tried.
So I feel really like honored right now.
Yes, absolutely. And so the reason, Ashton, I brought you on today, I know we have done things in the past during Mental Health Awareness Month, and there's been other initiatives where I've reached out to really deal with therapy.
Yes.
And the last part of the clip that we just showed is so very important because I made it a point to say, I believe in being spiritual, but I also believe in being practical.
Exactly.
That I believe in the master, but I also believe in medicine. That I believe in theology, but I also believe in therapy. And I think the reason why we want to dive a little deeper and go deeper in that is because last week I gave them the spiritual aspect of dealing with anxiety. I gave them the just God's recipe from success, but I understand that there's another side to that coin.
Exactly.
When you start talking about mental health or anxiety or just pressure, whatever people are dealing with, there's another side to that coin. So I wanted to bring you to the table to be able to talk about the other side of that coin. I spoke from a spiritual aspect. I want you to speak from a practical aspect.
Gotcha.
And I think it's important that we have this conversation because there are so many people, I got such a great response, so many people who are mentally just going through. So many people who are just dealing with so much anxiety, so many problems, so many troubles and issues that I really want to hear your voice, your professional outlook on this situation. And I think it's important, y'all. One thing you got to understand that, you know, the Bible says you are a spirit, you have a soul, you live in a body. You are a spirit, you have a soul, but you live in a body. So when you start talking about dealing with issues, you cannot just attack them or approach them from a spiritual aspect. If all you do is focus on the spiritual, but you don't focus on the soul or the body, then you are missing an element. Because I don't care how spiritual you are, you can say Jesus is the bread of life and I don't need nothing to eat. He's my food. And if you don't eat for long enough, you're going to die, right?
There we go.
So it's important for you to understand that some things are practical. Some things are practical. And while we will, I know last week, God's recipe for success, we're going to pray. And we're going to tell God what we need. And we're going to rejoice and be filled with joy. We're going to do all of that. But I know Ashton, she's going to give us some tools, some tips, and some techniques to help us to be able to cope with the anxiety we're feeling. And I believe that we are talking to an audience of people that they going through. We're in the middle of a pandemic.
Yes.
We got policing issues. You got teachers being forced to go back to school. You got parents who don't want to send their kids back to school. Just a lot of issues. What are some of the other issues that you see that, you know, that cause people to just be anxious?
Yeah, I do want to say, first of all, that I really just appreciate you even bringing this conversation to the table, just because of how stigmatized sometimes mental health can be in the Black community, and then also in the spiritual, religious community as well. So I definitely appreciate you bringing this to the forefront.
Yes,
a lot of the things that I've noticed recently, just from the past couple of months, that people have kind of been anxious about is surrounding COVID. There's so many things that have been altered because of where we are with this pandemic. There's, financial concerns that have come up because of, things being shut down, the social distancing. We're not as connected with people as we once were. So having to adjust to these things and still kind of function in life can be difficult.
Yes, that's so very true. The financial aspect, the social distancing. We have elders. I haven't hugged my mother since March, and when I see her, it's back up.
Yeah.
Social distancing, and so there's an element of people, and even church. Church is the place where people get that touch.
Exactly.
It's where they get that hug when we pass the peace. So even church not being in session, that love and that touch and that fellowship aspect has been, missing for the last 5 months. And so all of those things, you said financial aspect, people losing jobs, the uncertainty, definitely these are all things that are causing people to be anxious. And then on top of the pandemic, we got the whole police brutality thing.
Yes.
I think that there's been an uptick in even racial incidents. You've seen like in Bloomington where the African American was almost hung inside the woods, and just across the country, all you got to do is look at Facebook or Instagram, and it seems like there is a spike. There's racial tension, in this, and I think that's causing people to have anxiety too.
Exactly. Yes.
So let's talk about it. Let's define it. What exactly is anxiety?
Yes. The best way to describe anxiety, it's a biological function. It's supposed to be like
biological. Come on with the big words.
It's a safety feature, kind of like built in for us.
Okay.
So if you think about it in the sense of if you were walking in the jungle.
Right.
And a tiger happened to approach you.
Oh, okay.
Your anxiety would kick in that moment to say, this is unsafe, we're in danger.
Yes.
And then those kind of like very basic functions take over for us of like, okay, we're in danger, so I need to figure out how to survive in this particular moment. So those like logical reasoning, critical thinking skills, those things kind of go offline for us in those safety concerning moments. Okay. And we're kind of at that very basic level of we need to do the bare minimum so that we can function and focus on that and focus on getting to safety. So that's kind of like when our anxiety kicks in. It's like when we feel there's some kind of like threat to our safety or basically our ability to survive, if that makes sense.
Man, that makes total sense. And man, you just said so much. Because, and I know there's a lot of people that were saying during this pandemic, you should thrive, you should start a business, you should get ahead, you should invest in stock, you should come out, you should do this. Some people are just struggling to make it through the day.
Exactly.
I mean, people, I mean, not thrive, I'm just struggling to survive. I'm just trying to mind my mentals and get through the day because like you said, that tiger, we're in the jungle and that tiger's presenting itself and I think it is causing so many people, like you said, you begin to shift your mindset and you go into that survival mode.
Exactly.
Man, I'm learning something new. I'm learning something new today. And so it's a built-in alarm system or feature that causes you to, once again, just say that, just encapsulate that for me again. That was just, I'm still chewing on it.
Yes, it's basically kind of like an alarm system.
Yeah.
If you think about your house, maybe.
Yeah.
Of like, if there's a sense of safety or danger, that alarm internally is going to go off for us of saying like something about this situation is off. So maybe for a more practical standpoint, if you're walking down a dark alley at night by yourself, anxiety may heighten in that moment to tell you to be more cautious and alert to your surroundings because it's nighttime, because you're by yourself, maybe because you're, a woman. Or things like that.
Right. So, man, this is good. What, so in a sense, is fear. In a sense, and from what I understand, you can help me. Fear can be a good thing.
Yes.
It can be a good thing because it's alerting you, it's alarming you. And I know all my spiritual people say, wait a minute, preacher, God says he has not given you the spirit of fear. I know that's what y'all saying. But no, the spirit of fear is not, I believe that's when you're like overwhelmed with fear. You have that alarm system, you have that innate ability or whatever is designed in you to let you know, alert, danger, something's in trouble. But you don't want to get to the point to where you're consumed with fear. And so can we talk about that? Because I know even last week's message I talked about when it comes to anxiety, there's a minimum, there's mild, there's moderate, and then there's maximum. So I think having that system is good because it alerts you, it keeps you on your toes. But what happens when you get to the point to where it becomes where your system is overloaded or you have so much fear or so much anxiety that it hinders you and halts you from functioning properly?
Yeah, so it's like having to know where like the line is with that, like what's a healthy dose of anxiety and then what's kind of interfering with like functioning for you. So healthy doses of anxiety, again, keep us safe. They help us kind of prepare. So, you know, as pastor, part of your, you know, duties are to give sermons.
Right.
So maybe there's a sense of anxiety there of like, I need to prepare
Right.
for Sunday.
Right.
I'm not kind of just hanging out and just kind of like, I'll just wing it and see what
Right.
happens.
Yeah.
So that's part of the anxiety that can be healthy in that sense of, you know, it's the thing in the back of our mind that maybe when we're on 465 and going a little faster than we need to be, and we see a police officer, that we know to slow down.
Right.
So those are like situations. It's situational anxiety when it can be helpful. When it becomes more chronic and consistent is when we kind of get into that realm of now maybe it's more of a concern and maybe kind of more problematic. So kind of thinking like, is anxiety interfering with my ability to show up in the world the way that I want to, if that makes sense.
Oh, that makes perfect sense. So did y'all hear what she said? She said that there's situational anxiety. 465, you speeding. A dark alley, I thought I seen something. Situational anxiety. I'm upstairs and I thought I heard a noise downstairs. Situational, but then that can turn into, or the other side of that coin is chronic anxiety. The type of anxiety that keeps you from functioning properly.
Yes.
Man, this is why you got to go practical. This is why you just can't preach all the time and just pray and that's it. No, sometimes you gotta pause for the cause and go practical so that you can learn these things. So situational anxiety, healthy, I can manage that, I can deal with that. But that chronic anxiety, the type of anxiety that keeps people up at night.
Yes.
The type of anxiety that pushes people into a depression, or you can't function and you don't answer your phone or you don't go to work, or so can you dig a little bit deep? Because I think you know, situational anxiety, I think we got that. And I think people, but I think there are a lot of people that are dealing with some chronic anxiety, especially with the school, especially with educators, especially with people that are being forced to go back into these COVID conditions. When I seen something on CNN that said teachers are writing wheels instead. They should be writing lesson plans. They're writing wheels. It's like a danger zone. So I know a lot of them are dealing with this chronic anxiety. Can you just talk a little bit more about that? And oh my God, just help us, Dr. Douthit.
Yes, I think one of the things with anxiety that sometimes causes problems for people is that they don't recognize it. There's sometimes when anxiety sometimes shows up as more of like somatic complaints, and that's typically what gets people in the door for therapy. Of saying, you know, I'm really having these unexplainable headaches, or I'm having stomach issues, or difficulty sleeping, or just not feeling like themselves. That kind of leads them to going maybe to their primary care doctor, and they're not able to pinpoint a medical issue. So then that may lead them into the realm of saying, like, maybe I should go talk to someone as like a therapist to help me figure out kind of like what's going on with some of this. Because I've talked with people who have anxiety, and one of the symptoms sometimes is like panic attacks, or like difficulty breathing or things like that. And a lot of the times they've mentioned that they felt like they were having a heart attack.
Wow.
And that's what led them to, going to the doctor to figure out kind of what's going on. And that's when they learn, like, oh, this is anxiety. So sometimes these things are kind of brewing for so long that they start to kind of like worsen. And then people kind of take that step and say, like, okay, now I need to like go talk to someone. So I would suggest that if people are noticing that things are different, they're kind of like struggling to function, or just having some unexplainable symptoms, to start, maybe go to your doctor, and then talk to them and see if they have connections to like a therapist that they could recommend, or if they need referrals. They could always reach out to me, and I could try to get them connected as well, to kind of help them deal with some of those things. Because even if it is situational, it doesn't mean you have to suffer.
Right.
So whether it's situational or chronic anxiety, like there are people, there are resources out here that can kind of help you navigate through these issues that are coming up for you.
Did y'all hear what she said? It's not just prayer and Pepto-Bismol. Y'all, your stomach is in knots, and y'all trying to pray, and y'all done drunk a gallon of Pepto-Bismol, and that's not the answer.
It's not.
It's not the answer. You are spirit, you have a soul, you live the body. You're trying to attack a physical, mental issue in a spiritual way. Should you pray? Absolutely. Should you take Pepto-Bismol? Chug a lug. But understand that it might not be either one of those, that it may be situational anxiety, or it may be a chronic anxiety that you're dealing with. And it's amazing because you said that it can manifest itself in a physical way.
Yes.
It can manifest itself, and that makes sense. And there's so many people who experience trauma, and you're trying to figure out what's wrong. I posted something the other day, and it's so true. It says, am I the only one to feel like, everything is fine and everything is not all right at the same time, or something like that? Right. And I said, oh my God, if that did not make it made so much sense that in one sense, man, I'm good, but in another sense, I'm not good. And I think that we as a country has experienced so much trauma. This year alone, 2020, has been filled with both trauma and drama, and it has left us anxious and feeling this anxiety, whether it's situational or whether it's chronic. Some of us were dealing with issues before 2020 came, and they have and can manifest themselves in a physical manner. So, and the other thing is, and this goes out to black folk. This goes out to all you African and Americans out there. Because we do not like to talk. What goes on in this house stays in this house. We the last one to go to the doctor. We the last one to seek any type of therapy. We the last one, and we just try to pray it away. And that's why today is so critical. Don't y'all click off or tune out. That's why today is so critical, because you have to be practical. And y'all, there's so much trauma that we've experienced. To understand this, when you start talking about self-care, there are some things that getting your nails done is not going to help.
Okay.
There's some things that getting your hair done, nails done, everything did. I'ma just self-care. No, look, that's surface self-care, because some of those issues go beyond a mani-pedi. Some of those issues go beyond going to a movie or buying the latest electronic gift to make yourself feel good, or even buying yourself some flowers. Should you do that? Absolutely. But understand that some of this trauma and these issues go so much deeper than just this surface self-care that we deal with. Some of us, we have some real trauma. We got some chronic and situational. Look, I'm going to start saying it like I've been studying. We got some chronic and some situational anxiety that we have to deal with. We say all the time, it's okay not to be okay. And we have to understand that all people, but definitely African American people, understand it's okay not to be okay, and reach out Talk therapy is important. I seen a post the other day. One of my friends on Facebook, she does meal prep, and she says that one of her clients for years, who she has been servicing, meal prep Sunday, he called to on Sunday to get his meal prep in, and then later on that evening, she discovered that he had committed suicide. So not knowing what took place between the time he called and everything was all right for his regular meal prep to those few hours, taking his life. And once again, so much anxiety, so much chronic and situational trauma and things that we're dealing with, that we have to understand that it's okay to reach out. It's okay to talk. It's okay to be vulnerable. And to get these things off your chest. Well, what are some of the other symptoms people that are experiencing anxiety feel? Because we can just write them off. I know you said headaches. I know you said your stomach can be in knots. What are some of the other things so that they can identify, because you said identifying is key, that they can identify, hey, there may be something off?
Irritability. That's one of the things that people kind of miss sometimes with anxiety. They think anxiety is more of just this like nervousness all the time and kind of being like skittish in a way, but sometimes just being irritable. Just not really wanting to like socialize, maybe like isolating yourself a little bit more from people, having difficulty being in situations where you don't have control. So kind of like looking at, how are my relationships with people? Have there been changes there? How am I performing at work? Are there changes there? Have my eating habits changed? Have my sleeping habits changed? So kind of taking an inventory of where you're functioning in all these different kind of domains and saying like, what grade would I give myself with how I'm performing at work right now? Is that typical for me? And why, if it's not typical for me, what's changed?
So it's just feeling like something's off.
Exactly.
When you say eating habits and sleeping habits, I thought about this, and you correct me if I'm wrong. Could it be that you're not eating at all, as well as overeating?
Yes.
Or I'm not sleeping at all, as well as I'm sleeping way too much? Man, so basically, just something's off.
Yes.
So how many of y'all feel like that? Just like something's off, and you can't put your finger on it, but something is off. Can you tap the clap if that's you? Something's off. Something's off. I don't know what it is. I can't define it, but something is off. Something is off. I mean, I'm not functioning properly. My mental's is messed up. I can't. Just something is off, and I think we all can relate to that, because just being honest and transparent. I mean, that's me. I know I'm off. I know I'm off naturally. No, but there have been seasons in my life where something is off. Even through this pandemic, I was talking to somebody and I was saying, man, I give myself, people say, don't be so hard. I mean, I give myself an F. And they're like, man, but it's pandemic and you struggling to survive. And I have been. It's like I feel like I've been in survival mode. I'm trying to switch over. I feel like I've been in maintenance mode.
Exactly.
And I want to be so much more productive, but I feel like I've been in maintenance mode, or I feel like I've been in survival mode. I'm trying to get it. I'm trying to push that thrive button, but I'm surviving. And it's not just dealing with the issues, the problems of other people. Yeah, I did 3 funerals in 7 days. 3 funerals in 7 days. 3 funerals in 7 days. And we've had so many members who have lost family members. I think at one point in time, it was in June, I think it was like 15 family members of church members that had passed away. And so it's like, I'm trying to hit that thrive button, but it's like, I'm in survival mode. And so if y'all feeling like something is off, it could be anxiety. It could be situational, could be chronic, could be anxiety. Let's talk about some tips, some tools, and some techniques. I got to alliterate everything. What are some tips? What are some tools and what are some techniques, and you may have already spoken to some of these, that can help people because they've identified something is off. I got chronic headaches. My stomach is in knots. All right, Pastor, I'm putting away the Pepto-Bismol and I'm going to pray. But what are some tips, some tools, and some techniques that can help everybody to deal with what they're facing?
Yes, definitely trying to get connected with a mental health professional.
Yes.
That would be my biggest encouragement for people is if, you're feeling like you're having difficulty coping, having a mental health professional to process some of these things and kind of walk alongside you while you're trying to work through all of this can be super beneficial. And then also adjusting your expectations. You mentioning kind of that surviving and thriving kind of push-pull, and having to understand that it's okay if you're not writing books right now.
Right.
Like it's okay if you're not starting businesses.
Yeah.
Like I think sometimes there's this misconception of with this pandemic that we're on this we've been on this 6-month vacation in 2020.
Right.
And kind of having to understand that it's okay if you're just kind of doing what you need to do to make it through. Like you don't have to be in this position where you're starting new businesses or doing all these extra tasks for the sake of being productive.
Right.
Because if you're pushing yourself past your limits, that's then unhealthy and could cause other issues. So definitely adjusting your expectations, developing a support network. So maybe you're at that point where you're like, I hear y'all, but I'm not feeling the therapy thing.
Right.
But still trying to find people that you can reach out to and talk to and kind of have that support system, and you can kind of be there for each other in this moment because we are isolated right now with the social distancing, and it's still important to have that human connection.
Yes.
So even though we're not able to physically maybe see all the people that we want to, still having some way to check in with people that are important to you. So if that's FaceTime, if that's a Zoom call, if that's you guys meeting up in the parking lot and social distancing and just talking for an hour, still finding ways to connect.
I'm just so humbled right now because it's like I'm sitting at the feet of Dr. And I'm learning so much. No, if y'all wanted 3 points to the message, those were your 3 points, which were just phenomenal. And I'm gonna take them in a different order. But she said, adjusting your expectations. Stop putting so much pressure on yourself. If you're not coming out of this thing a millionaire, you're not writing books, adjust your expectations. It's okay. It's okay if all you do is get up and brush your teeth. That's okay, right? Even if you don't brush your teeth, you got up. It's okay. Adjust your expectations. Get the therapy. Find a mental health counselor. Find somebody. And what if they don't have, they can't afford it, can't pay? I mean, what are there free opportunities out there?
Yes, there are. So if there's I know some people have high copays sometimes, and that's sometimes unaffordable.
Right.
So there are master's programs, around the city that offer sliding scale services.
Okay.
They'll allow you to see maybe one of their student therapists,
Right.
which is always a great option.
Okay.
There's people that are in private practice that offer sliding scale. There's different agencies that offer sliding scale, or sometimes even packages of sessions that they may offer at a discounted rate.
Gotcha.
So it's just having to know about where those resources are. And if people need those resources, I would be more than willing to provide those to you.
Okay.
Or if they want to reach out directly to me, that's fine as well. But we can definitely get people connected if they need to.
Awesome. Look, y'all, the adjust your expectations. Find you a therapist, mental health therapist, or you said build your
support network.
Your support network. Do your check-ins. And I think I told y'all this before, but we do something called pies. I think I taught that in Bible study. Pies. And so you call somebody and it's a check-in. How are you doing physically? How are you doing intellectually? How are you doing emotionally, and how are you doing spiritually? And just being totally honest, because I think check-ins can be powerful. Because sometimes it's just the opportunity to talk through and get it off your chest, and being able to converse with somebody about what's going on and what's taking place. I think that's so very important. Dr. Douthit, can you give us just some last thoughts, words, anything else you want to share as we begin to wrap up?
Yes. The Dr. Douthit just sounds so good.
It sounds so official.
Can't wait till I get to that day when it's official on the paper.
That's right.
But just some last moments just to like wrap up of just thinking that, if you have a car and you're driving and your car is smoking, most people wouldn't advise you to keep driving.
Right.
So, if we wouldn't treat an object that way, like why would we treat our bodies that way?
Wow.
So if there's things that you feel like, something for you is smoking, it's time to kind of check in and see what's going on with that. It's like we can't continue to notice that there's things going on for us and then kind of just try to like push through. It's like, oh, it'll just get better. It'll work itself out. But kind of having to understand like it's okay to need time to take a second to get help or to get some support from someone. Like there's no shame in that. And that there's people out here that are willing to assist you and like walk alongside you in that journey. So you're not alone in that. And kind of understanding that with everything going on, it would be unheard of to not have some kind of stress or anxiety or worries with the climate that we're in right now.
Right.
And just kind of having to address that.
Yeah.
And knowing that that's okay. It's like there's things that are happening, and of course you're going to have reactions to them. So find your way of coping that's healthy.
Yeah. Of coping that's
healthy. So
look, we can do a part
right. It's like that might have to save that for another day. But
healthy coping.
Healthy coping.
You know what's amazing about the illustration you just used? I was driving my sister's car back in the day, and it started smoking, and in ignorance, I just kept driving and blew the engine. And I think it's so very important. She used that illustration. If your car is smoking, you got to pull over, or something could blow. You can cause major damage. I literally blew the engine in my sister's car because it was smoking, and I did not pull up. I kept on driving and blew the engine. And somebody is on the verge of blowing your engine, losing your mind, having a breakdown. And it's important. It's okay not to be okay, and it's important that you seek the help and the assistance that you need. We want to thank Dr. Douthit for being here today. Look, she has blessed me tremendously. I mean, this is good. This is so rich and so good. I'm gonna go back and watch it again. It's so good. So thank you so very much.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, ma'am. And this won't be the last time. I feel like Oprah, you're gonna be a reoccurring guest on our show. How can they where can they follow you, or if they want to? What's your social medias, or whatever the case may be?
I am on Instagram and Twitter. I am at We Need to Talk Therapy. So that's me. I actually posted a coping with COVID calendar. For the month of May. So that's still posted, so that I just kind of like shared some different coping strategies from like the spiritual aspect, from emotional, from mental. So people may find some benefit in that, just to get them started with this process of trying to cope with some of these like stressors. So hopefully those things will be beneficial, but that's where I'm at.
Hey, go follow her. Phenomenal young lady doing awesome things, and is going to just make a significant difference and deposit into our community and to this world in the area of mental health. Hey, look, this is Pastor Corey Allen Duncan Sr. This is Dr. Ashlyn Douthit. Thank you for tuning in to our worship, church service, talk show, practical situation today. We hope that you have been blessed. And we pray that you will mind your mentals. Amen. God bless you. We love you. Thank you.
Join us Monday morning at 7 a.m. for TGIM. Thank God it's Monday. Start your week off in the presence of the Lord.
There will be no Wednesday night Spiritual Formation Bible Study class during the month of July. We will, however, resume our online Bible study during the month of August. Ask the Pastor. Do you have a special question that you would like to ask Pastor Duncan? Please go to the City of Hope Community Church app, tap on the button that says Ask the Pastor, and perhaps your question and answer will be read throughout the week. To stay connected to the City of Hope Community Church, please download the City of Hope Community Church app. For daily inspiration, join our daily text club. Text the word INSPIRE to 86677. There are 5 ways to financially support the City of Hope Community Church. You can go to www.cohindy.org and utilize your phone, your tablet, your laptop, or your desktop browser and click to give. You can also download the City of Hope Community Church mobile app. On that mobile app device, click the Give icon. You can also download the Givelify app on your mobile device. Search for the City of Hope Community Church, tap, give, and you're done. We also accept check or money order through U.S. Postal Mail. You can mail it to 10607 East 56th Street, Indianapolis, Indiana, 46235. We have also added a text-to-give option for your convenience. Just text the keyword GIVE to